Today on Centennial Sports, Aurelie Rivard in the pool going for more medals. Also in action, Danielle Doris in the 100-meter backstroke finals. Meanwhile, Brent Lakatos in the mix for 2 medals in 2 events, and Stefan Daniel taking on the competition in the triathlon.
Hello and thanks for joining us for another Paralympic update. I'm Nadia Rochefort.
And I'm Brett Honeysett.
We have a great show lined up for today, starting off in the pool with Aurelie Rivard. Canada's still looking for their first gold medal of these games, and they've got a good chance with Aurelie Rivard, swimming in the S10 100-meter freestyle. Rivard won the gold in this event at Rio in 2016 and broke her own world record in qualifying earlier in the day. She looked to rise to the occasion even more in the medal rounds, and rise she did. Rivard leads from start to finish and breaks her own world record that she had just set a few hours earlier and crushes the competition.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of scared of heading into the rest of the meet. But now with that world record, it just puts me in a better place in my head for confidence-wise.
Canada looking for more success in the pool, taking to the water in the S7 100-meter backstroke finals. Camille Berube aiming for the podium, but the real story is Moncton's Danielle Doris streaking away to an early lead, but the USA's Mallory Wegman closes strong and catches Doris before the wall. So it's a silver medal for Canada's Danielle Doris. Great result there.
Brent Lakatos almost called it quits after getting 2 fifth places and a 4th place finish at the Beijing Paralympic Games. Frustrated he couldn't podium, he considered retiring. Lakatos decided to give it one last chance. 4 Paralympics, 9 medals later, and he is still adding to his collection. The Quebec native is showing no signs of slowing down as he had a great weekend on the track. The track star intends to collect 6 medals these games, starting with the 5,000-meter T53. Brent Lakatos wins the first medal for Canada on the track. In a tactical race, Lakatos sits in 4th place, avoiding being boxed. He kicks off on the bell lap, challenging the Swiss man Marcel Hugues. The Canadian wins the silver medal in a beautiful performance. Lakatos took to Twitter shortly after his race to show how thrilled he was, tweeting, "1 down, 5 to go. I'm still alive, and my bag is a bit heavier. A good day, hoping to make that shift over 1 slot tonight." In the 400 meters, T53, Lakatos gets off the starting line slowly as the Thailand athlete leads the race. Coming around the back stretch, Lakatos gains on length, looking promising coming through the final bend. What an exciting finish as the Canadian closes length to secure the silver medal, beating his own world record set in 2019.
What a record. What an athlete.
Stefan Daniel, the Calgarian, set to compete in the men's individual PTS5 paratriathlon. He had high hopes for himself after winning his last 9 consecutive races. The weather conditions in Tokyo, however, were a little less than ideal. He would still finish in under an hour, recording a time of 59:22. But because of the strong competition, the 24-year-old would be forced to settle for bronze, missing the top step by just 1 minute and 12 seconds. With the wrap-up of the race, here is Centennial's Brendan Jewell.
It was a bittersweet ending for Stefan Daniel as he found himself on the podium, although not on the step that he had envisioned at the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics, capping off a spectacular 4-year run with many highs and few lows. The Canadian paratriathlete showed out for his country, although fell short of his personal goal, winning a bronze medal in the racing event. Daniel had won the past 4 World Championships and was looking to improve on his silver medal from the 2016 Paralympics in Rio. I had the opportunity to talk to Daniel earlier this week, where he discussed coming up racing and the challenges in preparing for the Paralympics during COVID.
As a swimmer and a runner, it was pretty natural to join triathlon, but it's because my dad was an Ironman triathlete, And so when I was growing up, even though I was a swimmer and a runner, he would throw me in like a local triathlon when I was like, 9, 10 years old every year. I just raced in Kelowna every year. And so I was kind of familiar with the sport. Like I did it recreationally just for fun. But then in 2013, it was announced that the triathlon would be at the Paralympic Games in Rio for the first time. So that's when I kind of thought, this is something I could be good at. I always thought I was going to be a swimmer, but, it'd be cool if I didn't have to ever give up my running. So it was a natural progression, and that's when I kind of started to actually take it more seriously.
Daniel was one of many Canadian Paralympians who was hindered by the shutdowns around Canada due to the pandemic leading up to the Games this summer, having only raced once since April of 2019. Although he believes that his skills have continued to develop during his time off, and he has added some new tools to his arsenal, despite the roadblocks placed in front of him due to COVID.
Schools have been closed, so that was really tough, but I've just been trying to focus on different stuff. I put in a really big bike walk when COVID first started, and I think my riding improved quite a bit, but it's been challenging. I've just been doing the best I can just to focus on the stuff I can do and try to make improvements, knowing that training will resume back to normal soon. But it's been really up and down. It's been difficult, but I think lights in the tunnel here soon, and hopefully training and everything else can just get back to normal soon.
Daniel was a presumptive favorite going into his race, coming off his 4th straight gold medal at the World Championships in Spain this June. But a spot at the top of the podium is never guaranteed, and despite falling just short, Daniel knew he gave everything he had and was honored to represent his country on the world stage. Brendan Jewell, Centennial News.
Team Canada basketball is looking good in their chances to podium. I caught up with Colin Higgins last month. Colin Higgins was always extremely involved in sports growing up. He had his full family support to do whatever sport he desired. His hockey career came to a crashing end when he sustained severe injuries. Who would have known that he would have been part of the Paralympic basketball team 9 years after he sustained the initial injuries?
So growing up, I was a very active household. I played a lot of baseball, hockey, golf, which led me down to New Hampshire on a hockey scholarship in high school. Down there, I blew up my right knee, and I was kind of like, screw this, I'm going to go back to, I'm from the Maritimes, so I went back to university in the Maritimes, and there I was running, and I kind of aided on the side of a curb, and my knee blew out, ankle rolled, tore everything in it, killed some nerves, and my mom is a nurse, and she works with an OT who's a classifier for wheelchair basketball, so she kind of knows all the ins and outs, and was after me after my injury to come give it a shot, see what it was like. I was pretty reluctant for about 6 months, and then when I finally gave in, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool, and I guess that had been early 2014, so here we are.
The New Brunswick native was a natural athlete. When he was young, Colin Higgins played stand-up basketball, coached by his dad, who was also a basketball player in his days. When Colin Higgins was 9 years old, he stepped away from basketball to follow his friends playing hockey.
He was injured and was facing sort of a very uncertain future with the damage that was done to his knee and the result in what they call drop foot. He ended up having several surgeries. He ended up moving back home after being away at a young age, going to prep school, and then off to university. So at 22, he was coming back home with a lot of uncertainty going forward in all aspects.
When Colin Higgins was down, lower than he has ever been before, he knew he had to do something. He wasn't going to let this injury determine his athletic career. After trying out for the team, he fell in love with the sport and the people involved in it.
Colin is a great guy. He's a great son. He's a beautiful fellow. We love him very much and are so proud of him.
He is hoping after this difficult year, he will enjoy his first ever Paralympic Games.
I don't I'm not looking to average 20 points a game, or I don't have a number like that. I think my game has grown in the last 18 months quite considerably. So I'm just eager to showcase that and see how my training is stacked up, and just help the team win any way I can. So if that's like 2 minutes a game or 30 minutes, I'll be ready. They'll be very different than any other Paralympic, obviously, for obvious reasons, but for us, we're trying to medal. So we like the pool we've got, how we match up against some of our opponents, and we feel as if we've made some really nice strides this summer.
We couldn't be more proud.
Going into the weekend, Canada's men's wheelchair basketball team was 0-2. Could they turn it around and get a playoff spot? Let's find out. First up on Saturday, Nick Gonchin and the boys played Japan, the red and white jumping out to a big lead to start the game, up 12-4 in the first quarter. But Japan starts turning it around, trailing by only 4 points with 2 minutes to go. Japan's Renshai Shoke throws up 2 points, finishing with a big 7 points in the quarter. In the end, that would be enough. Japan wins 62-56. Canada with 3 straight losses to start the tournament. The men defeated South Korea and Colombia in the last 2 matches to qualify for the quarterfinals. They will play the top team from Group B, Great Britain, on Wednesday. While Canada's wheelchair basketball teams shoot for success on the hardwood, Canada's para swimmers hope to repeat their success from 5 years ago in Rio. Chris House and Jan sat down with fellow Centennial Sports colleague Liam Weber, discussing what we've seen so far and what's still to come from the Canadians in the pool this year.
In Tokyo so far, we've already seen one of the biggest names, Aurelie Rivard, both in the pool and on the podium several times. She took home Canada's first gold Saturday. How do you rate her performance so far?
I'd say it's been very good so far. I mean, it's going to be hard to match her performance in Rio, where she was the closing flag bearer and got 3 gold medals on top of a silver. But as you said, already a bronze, Canada's first gold, a bronze in the 4x100 free relay, and there's still more to come from her.
Yeah, and what can we look forward to over the next few days, as you alluded to?
So there's really 2 events to watch for with Rivard. There's the women's 100-meter backstroke that she got a bronze at in the 2019 Paralympic World Championships, and the women's 200-meter individual medley, in which she's had a silver in multiple times. I wonder if she could get a gold.
Yeah, certainly one to look out for. Let's talk about Canada's other medal-winning swimmer, Nicola Guiterbeed. What do you think of his performance so far at the Games?
I think he has had a great games. He won the silver in the men's 100-meter backstroke. He also had an 8th place finish in the men's 50-meter free, which is the weaker of his 2 events, but overall, I'd say a very strong performance from him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's turn to one of the strangest stories coming out of the game so far, the women's 4x100 S10 Relay. Just what went down on Sunday that ended up with Canada on the podium?
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. So the team comprised of Morgan Bird, Katerina Roxon, Sabrina Duchesnes, and Aurelie Rivard. They originally placed 5th when they came to the line, but there was not 1 but 2 disqualifications in that event. The Great Britain and United States team had early takeoffs at the second exchange. The United States protested this decision, but it was upheld. So Canada moved up 2 spots to grab a bronze medal on the podium.
Yeah, I'm sure Canada will take those medals any way they can at this point. A few other swimmers have been in podium contention as well. Who else should we be looking out for as we move into some more events this week?
So there's a few swimmers to be watching for. So one would be Alexander Elliott, who has the men's 100-meter butterfly coming up, which he got gold at in 2018. He'll also be competing in the men's 400-meter free, which he has a bronze and silver at in the past at various events, and the men's 200-meter individual medley, which he had a gold at in 2018. There's also the young Nicholas Bennett, only 17 years old. He's impressed so far this Paralympics with a 6th and 5th place finish. He still has the men's 200-meter individual medley event, which he had a gold at the 2019 Pan American Games. And then there's Katerina Roxon, who is competing in her 4th Paralympic Games. She's a veteran of the Canadian Paralympic swim team. She has an outside chance at some medals. She'll still be competing in the 100-meter freestyle and the 200-meter individual medley.
Well, certainly a lot for Canadian swim fans to look out for in Tokyo. Liam, thanks so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me.
That'll do it for us today. Stay tuned to Centennial Sports for more Paralympic updates.
Here's what the schedule looks like for Canada's swimmers this week. Bennett and Elliott looking to make their way to Paralympic podium, and the Golden Girl, Aurelie Rivard, looking to add to her medal count on Wednesday.
And here's where the medal's standing. China running away with it. They've nearly doubled up their closest competition. Ukraine breaking into the top 5. Canada making headway with their first gold, but still well outside the top 25. That's all the time we have for today.
Once again, our Canadian athletes making a big splash on the international stage. Make sure to check out TorontoObserver.ca for all the latest updates. Thank you for joining us.